that stuff.
Melissa, you might want to get copies.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff.
I got the whole thing. I mean,
That's
this,
his biography.
I got all about the Depression, all about the Second World War.
Have you thought of putting this into a book?
Well, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, that's what I'm just a. That's from the Depression. How I was raised in the Depression. Discrimination about the wars about Camden. You remember Camden had the. You remember Camden had the riots? You don't know that when Camden had the riots? You said
No.
Well,
What year?
Well, during the 70s and all that stuff's in there about all the riots in Camden. Me growing up in Camden. Me, what we had to eat during the Depression. The medicine we used.
See, this is great stuff.
The whole story.
But you've got enough here to make a book.
Well, the whole story is, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's then you get to, that's where we lived at with no bathroom. I was 17 years old before we got a bathroom. 17 years old before, yeah, 17-year-old before we got electric in Camden.
Wow.
And my first job, I was an iceman. Nobody knew what iceman is today.
I know what an ice man. I never used
That's
one, but I know what
that's
it is.
before, got 5 boys, all of them, 4 of them got degrees, 1 got a master's, 2 got master's degrees in education. All that's in here and all the pictures in there with the best stuff. There's a city that I lived in, the blocks.
Yeah, what neighborhood is that?
Camden, New Jersey. Centerville.
Centerville.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
amazing.
taking
You went to-
classes down at Camden Rutgers.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's how we ate. We raised our own pigs and things. I'm just doing depression. You know, I'm talking about that part.
Sure.
When you go a little further, you see during the war how
that looks good.
and the toys we got. There's a lamp. We had no electric.
Radio.
The fight. There's a pool went to every day.
Still there or no?
They tore it down. But I was there, but it's there. But when you turn the next page, that tells you the whole story. About the pool and this. We had ration books. Here's my ration. You know what a ration book is?
This is from
During the war, they had rations,
from
right?
World War II.
Yeah, ration book. Ration book. Here's my ration book. I'll tell how old I was. I'll tell how old my brother was. We all had ration books. I have the
Here's your
books.
book. You still have
No, I have the
you have
books.
all these.
Yeah, I have all these books, but I have the stamps and everything. I had the original books.
So you didn't-
And I just took a picture of the covers for each one of my brothers and father and all that.
Wow.
You know? That's me in the 40s. When I did the bathroom, we had
Yeah,
that's like that. Yeah. The whole story is from the time I was born, grammar school.
So we don't have enough time for.
No, I'm just saying.
For all
I know what's going on here. This is me. This is me right forward in the army. Right forward in the army. This is how I looked. I was an Iceman, and like not only was I an Iceman, I would pick for the war. You know, during the war effort, I would be picking scrap and all. But we had a store. That's my store there. But I had a truck and everything.
This is on 10th Street?
Yeah, I had a truck, and I bought a brand new car looking like that. Nobody else had a
This
car.
is your sister?
My sister, my wife's. This is my sister. That's my wife's sister.
Okay.
She was 3 years old when I met my wife.
Still alive?
Oh yeah, they're alive. Yeah.
Both of them are still
Yeah,
alive?
everybody's alive. Yeah. But they're about the only person that's like But I know you don't have time, and once I get the tour, no, I don't use it shut.
Oh, that's supposed to be closed. Okay.
That's my sister, and here you can't see this too good because she's just covered. This guy here is my brother-in-law. He's my best buddy, right? He's about 17 years old here, but he's the best man at my wedding, right? And last night I was showing everybody a picture of him and Marlon Monroe in Korea. Was on uniform one. I got the picture. I got that stuff with him. When I go to classes and all that stuff. Yeah. This is my wife going to Camden Catholic. This is my wife right here. This is going to Camden Catholic. You'll never get to that book. Oh, this was in the Courier Post. This is my wife playing we're Catholic, right? This is my wife playing the Blessed Mother. You know what the Blessed Mother is, right? This is my buddy playing Barabbas. No. The guy for the silvers.
Judas?
Judas. This is Judas right here. I am back here. This is like 1948 to 1951 when I was in the army. We did this play all over.
Mm.
That's how we were dressed up on the play.
Is that you?
Yeah, this is me and my wife. We went to Coney Island, right? In them days. Remember I told you I was a woodman? I saw these are my workers. Those are the guys out this trip. These are the guys that were working. They helped me go on the truck. That's my wife when she graduated. And then 12th grade. Yeah, this one, this is everybody. This is the guy with Marlon Monroe, right? That's my wife, and this is my sister who graduated at the same time from Cameron High. This here, and this is, you know, what people don't understand is, this story will tell you right here, this is me and my wife and my sister and the same guy, Buddy, and we couldn't even get a place to eat in Camden and sit down at a restaurant. We went to an affair, and they didn't have no food there, so we went to try to get a restaurant. Everybody think that Camden was weather discrimination in Camden. But you read that, we had to go to a Chinese restaurant and eat. You couldn't get a restaurant, they wouldn't serve blacks. Right there.
In Camden.
And that's 1949. You could not get a place to eat. We had to go to a Chinese restaurant called China Clip on Broadway in Berkeley. So, you know, so all that stuff's right. This house we built down in Berlin, New Jersey. This is me when I went in the Army. I was in the Army that day. Joe Crash, you ever Joe Crash in Philly? My boy used to go to Joe Crash, but this is the house we built.
Oh, Crash Brothers.
Yeah, Crash Brothers. Yeah.
Ben Crash.
Yeah, that's there.
I knew Ben very well.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know the father, Joe Kraft. Joe Kraft was the Kraft boys, right?
There
The one with the Cadillac, the one with the
three
Mercedes
brothers.
on. Yeah, the three. Okay, well, that's what I. But okay, but
Go on
this
with
was
the
your father.
Cadillac, go on with the Mercedes. What did the other one have?
Excuse me.
The Kraft boys.
No, the one he's talking about, the one he's talking about Mars.
Ben had a Rolls.
Yeah, Rolls Royce. That's what I tell you. Yeah, he's going to tell
Ben
you.
had a yellow
That's why you
Rolls
know him. Because you're too young.
Rolls Royce?
Yeah. But he's
Oh,
too
my
young to know him. I knew him because I bought my clothes over there.
Oh, I know him
So-
real well.
Yeah, well,
I
okay.
was one of his Paul bells.
Oh, yeah, really? Okay, yeah. But
Me and his son are, today, his son and I are
Oh,
like
good
best
buddy,
friends.
yeah. Well, I hit South Street, man. There's another story about that.
937, Store of the Stars.
Yeah. No, but that was
Okay.
when I come from the Army, right? You'll see a picture in here and on all my bulletins I carry around. The first Saturday I came home from the Army, right? I needed a civilian suit.
Right.
Kraft. It's in that book. It's the guy wrote it down. I had to go to the Kraft Brothers to get me a suit, right?
Right, the
Because there was
Kraft
no
Brothers.
ones. There was the only ones open.
All right, well, why don't we get started?
Yeah, because I'm just, you know.
You're gonna hit all this stuff anyways. But, okay.
Okay, so we're just holding here. This is on, so I think we're all set. And at some point, can I scan some of these pictures?
Do whatever you want to do, or maybe easier in the folder I have here somewhere. In that
Back
thing
here?
there. Yeah. Whatever you want to do, you know.
Okay, I might even just, oh yeah, okay.
I have tons of them in the car, you know, they all over the place.
Did you say you had had some of this on disc?
I got the whole story, my whole life story that's in that book is on right in my pocket.
You want
Yeah, maybe if I could borrow it and
My
just like
whole
load
life
it.
story, plus
That's amazing right there.
plus all the pictures, all the pictures that you see here are on another thumb drive.
Could I use your thumb drive and I'll grab some of the pictures because we're gonna put together like a digital scrapbook.
Oh yeah, right, okay.
I can do that. I could probably do it while you're interviewing, so I'm not holding it up.
The only pictures that are not on here, it's all my Army pictures.
Okay.
All my Army pictures are on here. Most, I'm saying all of them, but most of my Army pictures, that's 50, 60 of them on here. But them pictures of the graduations and the kids and all this other stuff, or down south, you know, they're not in there, or Wildwood and all that, they're not on there. But my Army pictures are on here.
Okay. Could I borrow? Are they on your thumb drive?
Yeah.
Could I borrow it and that way I can sort of copy while you're interviewing too?
Now, I got 3
Are you
thumbs.
rolling it, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
I hope I ain't messing up numbers. When I talk, look, you gotta shut me up. That's what I did there.
No, that's the last thing you want to do.
You gotta shut me up. The last time I was at the 26th when I went down to Lashburg Cabinet, I said, no. That's how I go, Lord.
So,
Okay.
Okay, now, I think that if you look on here,
Okay.
you'll see the pictures.
Okay.
I'm talking about.
All right.
Now,
Wonderful.
okay. Now, see, I don't know what's gonna happen to all this stuff though. Go ahead, do it.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah, well, maybe I should ask you about something. I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, you want to ask Laverne or talk to Laverne? I think the only thing that the library is planning on doing it is putting some of it on the website.
Yeah. Okay, what do you want to take off?
Okay.
Yeah. But that's it, yeah, I mean, but this is a whole story of what's in that book, and I don't know if I'm ready to do that until I finish doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm talking about? That's what
That's
I
good
do.
work here,
I
so
do.
you can take time to think about it, and you can always.
But it is the whole, from
Well,
getting that book.
I don't think you're going to put the whole
to now.
thing.
Okay, do what you want to do.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna grab a couple
Do it to
pictures.
it. Now make sure you
The
got
concern is if he's doing a book,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't want
That stuff.
so much of what's on
Yeah.
here
Yeah,
to come
right,
out.
right. And that's all I wanted.
I'll probably, like, 5 pictures,
Take-
and then if
Yeah, we're
you,
just
if you
talking about some
decide.
pictures.
Take 10, take whatever, or you can take the ones out of there, take whatever you need.
Okay.
Whatever you need.
And then if you decide at some point, you know,
Yeah,
you don't
more.
want to
No, no,
share
no.
the pictures, I can always.
Oh, no, I don't care, take some off there.
Okay.
But you know, I'll give them all to you, you know.
It's the text you're more concerned about, everything.
All right, so I'll let you guys start, and I'll make sure we're all set and rolling here.
All right, so
Now,
just,
make sure that, if that's not the right one, I'm sure, it's got a lot of stuff on there, it's not only
Okay,
pictures on there.
if it's not the right one, I can get them afterwards.
Yeah, I'm not
We'll
giving
be
you,
back.
or I'll bring them back, I live around the corner.
No problem.
I'm here
Okay,
every
I'm
day.
gonna sneak out and just go on this one.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, you gotta stop me, because I keep going.
so just to get started, can you state your name for us and your rank and what part of the service you were in?
My name is Clarence Davis. You open my rank, I'm just sort of, hold on, I'm messing up already.
Sure.
Okay.
Final rank.
Okay, my name is Clarence Davis, and I was drafted in the service in 1951. And when I was drafted in the service in 1951, I was sent down to Camp Chaffee, Arkansas, for all the basic training to go on. And from there, I was sent to Korea. And when I got to Korea, my final rank was, I made it sergeant. But I had a lot of bumps along the road.
Okay, so let's back up and start, not looking for your whole life story at this point, but tell us where you grew up and a little bit about your...
Okay. I grew up in the city of Camden, and I was drafted, I think I already said, I was drafted in Camden in 1951, and when I was 21 years old, I was drafted. But before I was drafted, I went to Camden High School, and I dropped out in the 10th grade. And when I dropped out in 10th grade, I went to business. And when I went to business, I went down to the 7-Up company, bought a truck, and I started ice business. So I was an iceman for 4 years before I went into the service. So I leave my business. I just bought a brand new car from Rice and Holman on Albertson Boulevard. And I leave my car, and I've been going with my girlfriend for 4 years and 7 months before they sent me to Camp Chaffee. When I got down to Camp Chaffee, I'd never left home before. And when I got down to Camp Chaffee, Arkansas, I was scared to death because of discrimination. I never left the post for the whole 16 months I was there because I knew what it was like down south. On the way down from the north here, and we stopped at the railroad station, I saw white-only signs at fountains. You would think, and it said colored only. You would think the water was coming, some people thought the water was coming out colored because it said colored only. And so when I was out here at Chaffee, Arkansas, I went through my basic training. And about the the third month I was there, I was, like I said, I was with my wife for 4 years and 7 months. I got a little lonely, and I decided to get married. I called up and told my wife, sent her a letter that I knew she could refuse to get married, and she said yes, but I knew I was going to have a problem with my father and her mother. But anyway, it was okay. We set the date for December 29th. So December 29th, 1951 was a big milestone in my life. We got married. I only had 21 days home here, and I was sent right to Korea. So therefore, I did not see her anymore until 16 months later. But the whole time I was over there, we communicated. As a matter of fact, I always have props. I have letters in here that shows, and thank God the only communication everybody had when I was in Korea was letters. Now special letters here that I can show you right now. I can pick up. And like on the 29th of September, I can tell that what happened like from the 28th to like the 30th, how we got chased back, how we got casualties was. I made $40 because that's when I did my rank here. It's all in the letter. You know, I was telling my wife, you know, what was going on. I was writing this letter in the back of the truck. And also, I can show you the letter if you know, if you before I leave here.
We can do that afterwards.
Yeah.
So what was your job in the service?
Okay, my first job in the service when I hit Korea, which is normal. Anybody that goes to Korea first and get into a bunker with everybody that's been together for so many months and training together, get the worst job. And the worst job there was detail, no PFC rank or anything. I was E2, which was stringing barbed wire and guard duty. After 2 months of doing that, I was stringing barbed wire, and the exact date was April the 5th. On April the 5th, when I was stringing barbed wire between two gun sections, which was number 4 gun section, a round came in from the Chinese sent a round in and blew everybody up, but me and the other partner on the other side.
Now, where were you stationed at this?
In Korea. I was in Kunwa Valley in Korea, right?
How'd you get, I'm trying to back up a little bit. How did you get to Korea?
Oh, that's the worst part of all. What happened was, after I was married for 21, I told you I was married for 21 days, right? I was sent to Fort Lawton. So I caught an
Which is where?
Fort Lawton is in Washington. In order for me to spend more time home with my wife, I caught an airplane from the Philadelphia airport called Sky Coach. So this it was a 2-engine job, you know, it wasn't just thing. So anyhow, I got to Fort Lawton. I was in Fort Lawton, that's another part, because I was in Fort Lawton waiting to be shipped to Korea, and they gave me $50. They gave every soldier up there $50. They called it a flying 50 because the other soldiers that want to go to Korea, they want them to have fun back here before they go, right? So when they gave me my $50, I just got married, and I told all my buddies, I said, I can't spend my $50. I had to send home to my wife. I just got married. She needs a new pair of shoes to go to work the next day, right? Well, everybody laughed, and they said, oh, man, your wife's getting over on you and all that. This is true. My wife's getting over on you and all that, man. You're going to Korea, and you send your $50 home where they were spending on girls and whiskey and stuff, right? Anyhow, then I board ship the next day on a pier. If anybody was in there, you know, Pier 91, I board ship, and that was the worst 16 days of my life. Because when I first got on the ship, I saw the sailors putting out these garbage cans. I had no idea why they put out the garbage cans. But at 1 o'clock at night, I decided, not 1 o'clock at night, I saw all the people, before it got dark, going down, getting seasick. So it was thrown up on the deck and everything. Well, I stayed up there till it was dark, and then when I went down there, that's when I saw the sailors putting out these garbage cans. I wondered what the garbage cans was for. 1 o'clock at night, I woke up and I knew. Because I was laying down on a cot and I put one boot on, and I ran to the garbage cans myself. So the whole 16 days I was sick and everybody else was sick. But the sailors knew it. Okay. Then I hit Japan, and when I hit Japan, everything was normal. But the Japanese people, I looked at so many war movies during the Second World War, which were propaganda movies, right? And I saw the Japanese people, they were beautiful. During the Second World War, they made the Japanese bad, you know what I mean? They did. They made them with big teeth and big glasses on. They were pretty people, right? So that was my first shock when I got to Japan.
How long were you in Japan?
Well, I was only in Japan that time for 3 days. But now to go 9 months further by Japan, now 9 months further, when you're in Japan, when you're in Korea fighting, right? For 9 months, they have to send you away for rest and recuperation called R&R. Well, they sent me to Japan. So when I got to Japan, well, I was a big sergeant then, right? So when we got to Japan, you're on a bus, you're on an airplane with a lot of guys, right? And they all said, what we're going to do with the Japan sergeant, you know, because they looked for me to be, because I was big and I was a sergeant too. And I said, all I'm going to do is go to sleep because I was married and I couldn't mess around, right? So anyway, to make a long story short, I went to bed, but the next morning I woke up. When I woke up, I stepped my foot outside of the barracks, right, the army barracks, and all the Japanese people started running towards me. And I got afraid. I ran back into barracks, right? Because that's when I found out about the propaganda. Now, I was in Korea fighting all that time, and I wasn't afraid of the Koreans when I saw them. But when them Japanese started running at me, and they were saying, hey, I'll take you to the Ginza Market. The Ginza Market is a store. I thought they were saying black market. You know what I mean? And Black Dragon Society, because I saw too many war pictures. So I was more afraid of the Japanese. I went back in there until I found out what was going on. You know what I mean? That was my story about Japan.
So did you see signs in Japan of World War II? Was it still?
No. World. Oh man, signs. No. When I got to Japan, Japan was Americanized, right? The favorite song in Japan was Rosemary Clooney saying, "Come on to my house, come on to my house. I'm gonna give you this, and I'm gonna give you everything." Every Japanese, every station was playing Rosemary Clooney, "Come on to my house." Have you ever heard that song?
Sure.
Yeah, when I was in Japan, they all singing, "Come on." That was matter of fact, it was like a proposition song almost if you listen to it carefully. But that was a hit song in Japan when I was there, and everything was Americanized.
So you didn't see signs of the bombings?
No, that was different. No.
Okay, so then you got to Korea.
Okay. Then I'm back. Well, before the R&R times when I had all the problems, but I'm back to Korea. Like I said, the 5th of April, right? A round came in, and when the round came in, everybody, the whole gun section was wiped out. The whole gun section was wiped out. But the two guys was on me, and another guy was on duty, right? Stringing these barbed wire. I was on this end of the barbed wire, and the guy by the name of Edwards was not stringing barbed wire. Edwards how his kneecap blew off, right? All the other 6 guys in the gun crew blew up, but I'm over here, and I'm the only one that was standing. You know, so I'm looking around, and I don't know what happened. And the medics, nobody was crying. The medics was getting everybody morphine and all that, right? And that was my second incident under fire. Was dead. Okay, that's when I started making rank. Because as long as I was in this number 2 gun section, they were all buddies. And I was always going to be detailed. Matter of fact, there's a guy from New York, his name is Ivor Good. Ivor Good said, "Davis, you're married." He said, "You got to get out of this section and get on the gun." He said, "As long as you're here," he said, "any detail come up, you're it. But I don't care." He was like me, a replacement. He said, "But I don't care because I have my Jaguar at home and an August C3. At that time, I did not know what a Jaguar was. I did not know what an August C3 was. Okay? I didn't know. That's how, yeah. But anyhow, the first thing I did when I got home was bought an August C3. And that's why you see all the pictures of my kids. But anyway, now how I got in that section was, when that gun blew up, right? They said every 6 gun section said every gun section sent a man down to number 4 gun section. So naturally, when number 4 gun section, they're gonna get rid of me, right? Because I'm the new guy in number 2. So sent me down number 2 gun section. Now, usually I have my pictures here. I can show you everything I'm talking about. It's a shame, when I'm both. But now, when I got down to the number 4 gun section, I was one of the fastest. I didn't have 1 strike. Okay, but what happened was I was a big guy, and you had to load this gun. And when you load this gun,
what kind of gun was it?
A 105. How? Can I show you a picture?
Sure.
I'm just having them.
Are they in there?
Everything I'm talking about, I can point to if I had to put that board in.
Yeah, are they? Oh, they're on the board.
They're on the board in here too.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Man,
Absolutely.
I get confused, and I don't want to. I'm ready to stop because nobody understands what I'm talking about. But you see a picture's worth 1,000 words. Okay, now here's an example. This is Icheon. I hit Icheon. When I first landed in Korea, I landed in Icheon.
At Incheon, okay.
This is a picture of Icheon. Icheon's where MacArthur went in and trapped the North Koreans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Icheon's where MacArthur went in and trapped the North Koreans. That's maybe some kids in Icheon. Okay, this is when I first started making rank. This is when the gun blew up, this gun blew up that you see right here. They set me down that gun, and when that gun blew up, I am this guy you see loaded. This is me here. All these guys are passing me ammo, you see it?
This is you.
This is me, the last one I put it. All these guys are passing.
Pick this up for the camera.
Yeah, you see, you can read it down there.
Right there.
All those guys are passing me ammo. So therefore, the real ammo guy that was supposed to be doing, his name was Bean. See, this is Bean. This is the guy who was supposed to be doing that.
Okay.
But I was so good at it when they need some quick calls, like they would need 13 rounds, right? they need a strong guy, right? So I hit them 13 rounds, hit 13 more rounds, so it would be me, right? But I'm still a PFC. I'm still a PFC, yeah. One strike, see it?
Right.
And this is the thing, okay? Now, what happened was that I did this job so good, that the guy who was the chief of section, he trained me on all the positions on the gun, right? I'm going to tell you about Craft Brothers. That's Craft Brothers. But anyhow, let's see if I see that. The fella.
So this is a single fire howitzer.
No, that's a 105 howitzer. No,
So
that thing can deliver 8 rounds and 6 rounds in 8 seconds.
wow.
No, this is a it's a 105 howitzer. Remember I tell you about my car I left back home? Ice business, 1950. So whatever I say, I show these kids, you know, and they know it. Okay, so now what happened is, that guy taught me, my picture's outside, really. Okay. Okay, let's get to this.
So I see you write this gun can fire up to 8 miles.
Yeah, right. Okay, now, so what happened was, I made a strike. So I'm showing you how rank goes. I made 1 strike. So once I made that strike, and I was good, the guy who's in charge, chief of section named Dad Guerrero, right here. This is Dad Guerrero, right? I guess it's the same picture.
Same picture.
Okay. Dad Guerrero taught me the positions on the gun, because I was good, so he taught me everything. But what happened was, this guy here was a truck driver. Let me show you my first job. This guy here was a truck driver. His name was White. When the rounds come in, this is the gun that blew up, he was one of them. When the gun blew up, he was a truck driver, and he was a casualty, right? And I was a PFC, but when he left, I got his job as a truck driver. So when you get a job as a truck driver, you're a corporal, right? I made another strike, which was a corporal, okay? But I had to get off the gun to be a corporal. So now I'm a corporal. I got his job. Not only I get his job, I can see this little suit here that he has on, 2-piece suit. Oh man, yeah. This is the truck driver. This is my truck driving job. I got his suit on. I got his air mattress. You know, I was sleeping on the ground first, right? When this guy became a casualty, I got his suit, one-piece suit, right? I got his air mattress, the sleeping one, because
Nice.
before that I was sleeping on the ground. Okay. Now after that, I made corporal, which was a strike, right? Now, that's what I said. If I showed you that thing, all this is in that book. Anyhow, I made corporal, and when I made corporal, I was so good at driving the truck that they sent me to headquarters and all that stuff, right? And I won a plaque. The only one in the outfit that won a plaque and came back with a plaque and all that, right? Now, I'm looking for another strike, right? So I says to Dad, I said, Dad, man, let me, when another guy rotate home, let me get on the gun as a gunner, right? So my job as a truck driver was to move the howitzer around all over whenever there's a battle going on, right? We have a fire mission. Was a 10-man crew I had to carry, right? And I had to bring the howitzer, and I had to set it up in position to fire at the enemy. And also my second job was to load that gun. See, I'm loading the gun there?
Mm-hmm.
That's as alternate position. I would load the gun. So I was already set up for loading the gun, right? And all I had to do was take the captain around and turn him to drive the truck. So then I got to be a corporal. Well, after that, I said, well, why should I be a corporal? I could be a sergeant, right? So after that happened, I put in for a job on the gun as a gunner, right? And I received the job as a gunner, and that took about, well, that didn't take long. Because in the letter there, it'll say that in September, I received my corporal stripe and $40 pay. So I know when I got this, I know when I got $40 pay. It's right there. I don't understand, don't lie, you know.
The corporal stripe or the sergeant?
No, sergeant stripe. So I had the corporal stripe way before that. Okay. But anyway, after I got on the gun, I got to be a gunner. Now, at my time as a gunner, I had another buddy of mine, his name is Bagwell, and him and I, oh man, see my pictures on that thing, listen. Oh, this guy here. This is my, he was from Camden, along with me, right? He got drafted at the same time. Now he, when I got to be a gunner, he was loading the gun, right? So we had chance to, like when they had a big push and need 13 or 15 rounds at one time, he would load the gun and I would fire the gun. And we had a slogan which said we put them where they want them, when they want them. In other words, we put the shells or the explosives where they want them, right? When they want them. If they want them right now, we put them there right now. So our slogan was we put them where they want them, when they want them. This guy here. Now eventually...
So let me ask you one question. Did you learn gunnery in Korea, or did you learn that
No, everything in Korea, no.
You learned it in Korea?
Yeah, well, in basic training, you go through the steps, but you go through the steps in basic training. But like I told you before, when I was loading that shell so good here, my boy, Dad Guerrero, taught me all the positions, right? Now, it was discrimination going in, Dad was Mexican, I think. But yeah, it was discrimination. And not only that, the people was in the National Guard, and they lived together in the same neighborhood, right? So I wasn't gonna get no break, you know what I'm talking about? So the only reason I got a break was because of that, and I had a good captain. A good captain, matter of fact, I'll tell you some stories about the captain and I, if we get to it. I don't know what you want me to do. But anyhow, make a long story short, it's okay, now I'm a truck driver, right? Now I get on the gun. When I get on the gun, it's my buddy here and myself shooting this gun most of the time, right? And we had a stoke who was fast. I learned from the National Guard, if you pull a lanyard on the gun, right, it takes so many seconds to fire it. But if you put it on a breech block, you know what I mean, right where the firing pin is, you do it quick. You shoot. Okay. Yeah, instead of being 8 seconds, something could be 5 seconds, right? So we had some fun. But it was always fun between the two of us doing this here. Now, after that happened, and about you could tell it was a quick time, because I wound up being the chief of the section. Chief of section, I'm in charge of everybody there, 10 guys. I'm in charge of the truck driver. I'm in charge of the gunner, who's a sergeant too, right? Okay. Now, so now I was in a position where I could make this guy here. He was a detective in the city of Camden, right? He lives right down in the down the country somewhere where everybody was moving out all of a sudden. Down in the Turnersville, wasn't it? Well, he lives down the country.
Down Washington Township?
Yeah, and he lives down the country there. But anyhow, okay. This guy was born and raised in, so I made him my truck driver. So now he's the truck driver, and I'm the chief of section, right? So being he was the truck driver, I sent him to headquarters with my truck, and he come back with a plaque. The only two people who made a plaque there driving them trucks was me first, right, as a truck driver, and then as I was the boss, he was my driver. You know what I mean? Down there. So he got to be a corporal. The only way he got to be a corporal was I'm going to tell you, if we get time, I'm going to tell you some stories about him and I worked there. But anyhow, now I'm chief of section, right? Okay. So once I got to be chief of section, I was in charge of everybody and everything, right? So whenever anybody came in the area, including General Joe Collins, right? Joe Collins was MacArthur's boss, right? He was MacArthur's boss. When he came to the area, everybody cringed. When the colonel comes to the area, everybody cringed. They said the colonel's in the area, everybody runs and scared and howls, right? Well, when a colonel comes to the area, the captain always brings me, right? Okay, go to 4, Sergeant Davis. In January, when MacArthur's boss, which is what's his name? What is his name? Man. Well, yeah, MacArthur's boss came, and everybody's scared, right? He sent us to me, so I had to meet. It was, Joe, what's his name? This is my book now. I forgot his name. It just escaped me now. I'm 83. But anyhow, when this guy's in charge of everybody in the army, the whole armed force, he's like Colin Powell. When this guy keeps chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. When this guy,
I'm not sure who that was.
Well, I know him.
Wasn't King.
Collins. No, it was Collins. Joe Collins. Okay. Yeah, it was Collins. When Joe Collins came to visit, came to the front lines, the captain says, okay, go see Sergeant Davis, right? So I had a meeting, and it was a desk on my, I told you, Sergeant Times, I tell you, reporting 4th session reporting stuff. So I did a lot of stuff for the captain also, you know what I'm talking about? So anyhow, anybody came to the area, I wanted a plaque, and when the major come in, all of them, He would always send them over to me.
So I see you participated at Punch Bowl at Heartbreak Ridge.
I was at Punch Bowl. I was in the Punch Bowl. Matter of fact, I'm going to see if I have my book here. If I have my stuff out in the water, I'll show you a picture in October where I was in the Punch Bowl in October. I was in the Punch Bowl at the end of October, and the 7th Division was trying to take a place called Triangle Hill, and I was supporting them. And at that particular time there, on the 7th of November, right, one of our officers, right, one of our officers, you know, we call FO officers, was up there, and he got a casualty. He got shot from here to here. See, there's a story behind that. What happened when this guy came to Korea? This is what the letters for. You know, I got these letters. When this guy came to Korea, we got chased back from the 28th, right, of the 28th of October, 20th of September, right? And we went back for 10 days. Well, during them 10 days, a new officer's coming by the name of Lieutenant Reynolds. When Lieutenant Reynolds came in, we shared, he was a young kid, right? You know, all really young, all clean, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And you're not used to seeing them guys all young and clean, right? And white kid too, right? So anyhow, he gravitated towards me because I was married. And he was wanting to get married. So he was sending, so he would get letters, right? And he would show me his letters and pictures of his girlfriend wanting to get married now. Remember, now I'm only 20-some years old too. Mm-hmm. and I was showing my letters from my wife and everything, right? And we was just as close as you and I are here, right? Sharing the letters. Well, on the 7th of November, which is only from October to November, less than a month, right? He's on Heartbreak Ridge, calling in stuff, and I'm in the Punch Bowl supporting what he calls in, you know, for ammo and all that kind of stuff. And he gets wounded from here to here. Now, after that happened, you know, he went to the hospital and all. They took him off the mountain. They took him off the, you know, off the OP, and he put him back in the battery area. Now, when he comes back in the battery area, he's battery exec. Battery exec means he's under the battery commander, right? So it's you know, it's just like when I get taught. It's a big story behind it. It's all written down in that thing I got here.
So he was
Well, yeah. So he could come back. He's my boss. Now he's my boss. But when he come back, now I'm on R&R. So when I come back on R&R, he's the boss. He's the assistant commander, right? So I looked at him and I said, "Oh man, what happened to Lieutenant Reynolds? He was such a nice, pretty kid. Now he's walking around unshaven. He got a scar between here and here from getting shot up and all that. And I'm wondering what happened to him. He's such a nice, clean-cut guy." And everybody told me that what happened to Lieutenant Reynolds was he got drunk. He got a Dear John letter. Soon I tell you when he got married, he got Dear, and that's what happened. Now I'll tell you more than one guy got that. One of these guys. But he got Dear John letter, started drinking. So what happened was he got drinking, he walked out of the post, started crawling around, didn't use the right password, or he got shot. He got here, right? Now he's mad, so he come back to the post. And now I come in there and I don't know it, right? So he's walking around my area. I'm the chief, right, of section, and I got 10 guys there. He's running around trying to find fault of my area. I didn't know it, because I thought we were the same buddies, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, one morning, man, he come running in there into my bunk. He said, "Sergeant Davis, I got you." That's what he's talking about. He said, I busted down, his Jeep driver was a black guy. He said, "I busted down my black driver, Bill." He said, "Now I got you." It was only two of us, right? Now he don't get me, right? So now I got you. He says, "I'm going to Lieutenant Reynolds. Your ammo's dirty, right?" So now I don't know what's going on. I thought we were best buddies, right? But when he got shot, he changed. And come off the elbow, he changed. And now he don't get me, right? He runs against Lieutenant Reynolds, right? So Lieutenant Reynolds, I said, "Oh man, Lieutenant Reynolds, what am I going to say?" And what Lieutenant Reynolds going to say? What's he going to say? I don't know what to do. I'm not going to do anything because I don't know what's going on. Man, he opened that door and he come to my brother, Lieutenant Reynolds. Lieutenant Reynolds looked around. He said, "Now tell me what's wrong, Sergeant Davis. Why are you talking about, you know, taking him away from his position all the time?" He said, "Because his ammo is dirty. You know, animals got to be clean before you shoot, right? His ammo is dirty." I didn't know what the captain said. No, the captain says, "What are you talking about?" I got an ammo man named Billy. I know the guy's name. My ammo man named Billy. It's not my responsibility to clean the ammo. Billy's responsibility to clean the ammo, but I'm supposed to make sure it's done, right? I got an ammo rag up here on a post, you know what I mean? So it's really amazing how this lieutenant did this. So anyhow, so big old captain, big and lion, man, scary everybody there. He walked over here, man, he said, he grabbed the ammo rag. He said, look, he said, what are you talking about, Sergeant Davis' ammo's dirty? He said, it's a colonel coming area now. He said, it's clean, and here's his rag to prove it. Get out of here, Sergeant Davis. Look, I didn't know what was going to happen. The same guy changed that much. You know, he was trying to bust me, trying to take my respect, man. But he didn't do it, right?
Let me steer you and ask another couple other questions about just what it was like being there in terms of the weather, in terms of, you know, the danger. Can you talk about those two items a little bit?
Okay, well, the danger, I'll go to the danger part first. The danger part was that when you're 21 years old, right, you don't think about danger. If you go around like I did during the Second World War and saw all these war pictures of John Wayne and Robert Ryan and Randall Scott killing everybody, right, you think you can be like they are, you can go over there and do something. In February, my first time under fire was in February. Some shells came in the back of where me and this same guy was outside talking about back home. 2 shells hit in the back, right? And I said, oh my goodness. I said, it's time for something to start happening around there. I want us action. I said, it's time for something like this to happen around there. Then all of a sudden, 2 shells hit in the front and then about 3 or 4 right in the middle, and I'm on the ground trying to dig a hole and put boxes on top of them. But I thought that it would be fun on account of the movies, right? Now, after the shuttle was over, there is a bathroom there. The bathrooms are like this outhouse here, same as at my outhouse, right? Well, at that outhouse, there was a supply sergeant right next to it. And that's when I found you get killed around there. Because one of them shells hit that tent where the supply sergeant was and killed him, and all the head part of him went through the toilet and all that kind of stuff. And that's when I started knowing you get killed. That was my first time under fire, as far as danger. The second time was the danger part number 1. The second time was, like I told you now, the 5th of April, when I was stringing barbed wire and the shells came in and nobody knew what happened and everybody was down but myself that was there near that thing. Okay, the only thing I found out, I had little holes in my clothes, and I didn't know what them little holes were. They looked like acid clothes, right? And then a little later on, I found out it was a shrapnel, but it didn't go through my body. One did, and it's a little, I picked up about a year later, a little spot here. But anyhow, everybody's down. That was the second danger shit. Now, the third one, like this is my letter that I was talking about, was on the 28th, an airplane went by and headed north, a black airplane headed north, and it was lunchtime, and we had like an air alert, and nobody paid any attention because you never had any air alerts before. The only time airplanes came over before was to drop leaflets out, and I got the leaflets and all that stuff, somewhere in my stuff, maybe in here too. Anyhow, that was the first time. This is 28 now. So what happened was, about the time to eat dinner, shells started coming in all over the place, like in back of us, in front of us, and all we could do was get in foxholes and lay down. Okay. Then, when it got dark, we had to leave this position, right, and go to an alternate position. Now I am the chief of section, right? We all hook our guns up and try to get out and go down to a road a couple miles to another position to fire back. But when we got down to this other position to fire back, we're in the valley and the hill's up here. Well, by the time we got our guns unhooked, we looked up on top of the hill and shells started coming on top of the hill. Okay?
From on top of the hill?
Yeah, no. The Chinese were shooting at us. They followed us somehow. And they was hitting in this, our position is down here, but they're trying to get down there, right? So we looked up and we saw 2 hit on top. We said, uh-oh, this is the same 2 hours later, right? They didn't chase out of one position, they chased out another one. Now when they hit up on top, we said, uh-oh, they start hitting inside. Now we got to hook our guns up to get out, right? I'm trying to hook my gun up to my truck. I'm chief section. We couldn't hook it up because what happens is when you raise something, when you got like something in front of you like this here, and you try to get the gun up in the back, it hits this, it won't go up, right? You know what I'm talking about? The barrel of the gun was hitting the parapet, and it wouldn't go up. Shells falling all over, and it's the first time I saw a black officer. His name was Lieutenant. Okay, it was the first time I saw a black officer. His name would come to me later. Okay, this lieutenant, black lieutenant, I saw a 3/4 ton truck he was riding in blow up. Lieutenant Toles. He walked over from that and come over to me and said, we gotta get this son of a gun up. He used another word beside the gun. We gotta get the son of a gun up. We found out what happened, we hooked it up, and we started running out. As we was running out, right, I was the chief of section. I belong on this side of the truck, in the front. My driver is on this side of the truck. Well, we had to pull the truck out so fast, that 28, that I couldn't even get on the truck. I jumped on the back of the truck. The truck driver's driving away. This guy right here, and yeah, everything's confirmed because he's still alive. This guy here was trying to get on. He was trying to get on the truck with me, right? Now I'm reaching out to pull him on the truck. And while I'm reaching out to pull him on the truck to make sure he's on the truck, because they're speeding away, we got to get out of the range, right? I pulled him on the truck, and as soon as I pulled him on the truck, a shell hit between my truck and number 6 section's truck, 6 trucks, right? And when I looked at the air, I knew everybody was blowed up. And I saw this dust and dirt and stuff come out, that number 6 section. Here, this black, I always say black guy, this big guy, Eli, his name is Eli, from the number 6 gun, he came through all that stuff. I mean, I thought everybody was gone. My buddy was on the truck with me now in the back. Eli, the number 6 gun truck, big guy, right? His picture's in here too. Oh, Eli came through all that stuff, right? But then we still had to go to get out of the view of the Chinese, right? So we went back that night to 1 o'clock at night. Everything's in the letter. In the letter, also said, I'm writing this letter by candle. I'm on the back of the truck by candle trying to finish this letter. Also, when we stopped in the field that night, it was the first time we ate was 1 o'clock that night. Okay. But after that, it was 1 o'clock at night, all that's in the letter. And the next day I got my stripe, and I got my raise. And that's when I met the lieutenant. I told you, because we got chased back for 10 days, right? Mm-hmm. But then okay, so we stayed back 10 days. And then when we came back to old position, we got shelled at first. The first thing that the captain said was, now, anybody want to make peace with the Lord, go see the chaplains now. So everybody but me, I was chief say that I never get, these guys never went to church, right? I looked around, my gun crew is all in church. Everybody was scared that night, because our first night back, right? So, okay, we went through that night, okay. But then about 5 days later is when we had to go to the Punch Bowl to support the 7th Division in Iraq to take Triangle Hill and Heartbreak Ridge. Okay, after that, I went on R&R. After that stuff, I went on R&R.
To Japan.
And yeah, to Japan. And when I went to Japan, I told you what happened in Japan. Mm-hmm. And, okay, then when I came back, I told you what Lieutenant Reynolds was there when I came back. Also, I told you about when I came back. It was time to go home. Okay, now, I made this stripe. I made the stripe before. I made this stripe before. Like I got paid for this stripe in September. That's for
September 52.
Yeah, September 52.
52.
But anyhow, but the position I had at that time was chief of section. So I was another stripe. You know what I mean? I'm talking about. Uh-huh. I didn't get my corporal stripe. I got this stripe. But now I've been a chief of section, which means that I had to be at least 2 or 3 months a chief of section. You know what I'm talking about? And so I was doing another stripe. So somehow they froze the rank, right? Because I was in charge of a sergeant, which was a gunner like me. But anyhow, they froze the rank, and then when it was time for me to go home, they said he was going to give it to me. They unfroze the rank and was going to give me my others. My job was sergeant first class, which was another rank, right? But they said that since I was going home.
So when did you come home? I
came home in May. Well, I left Korea in April of '53. I come home in May. Yeah, I got home in May '53.
When was
May 23rd.
When was the truce?
July 25th.
Of 53.
53. Yeah, well, I came home in May that year, 53. May 53. Yeah. So I was over the whole time the fight was going. I was on the line. I was in Kumwampa, I was in Punch Bowl, I was in Heartbreak Ridge.
So were you involved with? I'm not up on my Korean history as much as I should be, but I know that when we crossed the parallel, went up near we crossed 38th parallel, went up near the Chinese border.
Right.
Where then the Chinese got involved, chased us all the way down to the peninsula.
Yeah, it was 3 times. Yeah.
So were you involved in any of those retreats? And then
during 1951, the war was sort of stabilized. They had lines across the 30th parallel. But I was across the 30th parallel the whole time I was there. I was never in South Korea.
So you
I was
were
always in
the
North
whole
Korea.
time.
I was always in North Korea for the 15 months I was in Korea. Always in North Korea. When I first hit there, I was in Incheon. Like I said, the first spot in Korea was Incheon. Then I went to a place called Kumsang, and the last fighting that went on in Korea was the fight where it was called the Kumsang River Silent. The last battle of the 40th Division, which I was in the 40th Division, right? That was the last battle. So I was in the